Hello everybody and welcome to another One Stop Wrestling podcast. I'm Alex and with the Royal Rumble fast approaching, today I'm going to be looking at some of the greatest matches in the legendary show's history. The Royal Rumble has been one of WWE's greatest ever events, with the iconic Royal Rumble match having some amazing moments and playing the setup for the WrestleMania season and sometimes even the entire year ahead. With the titular match taking up most of the event, even more so since they added a women's version in 2018, there are traditionally only a few undercard matches on the show, but there have been some amazing ones. And these are the ones that we're going to focus on today. So for this podcast, we will not be including any actual Royal Rumble matches, as that would take an eternity to rewatch and try and come up with a list. So without further ado, here are our top 5 matches in Royal Rumble history. First, let me just go through a couple of honourable mentions, as it was difficult getting the list down to 5 with nearly 40 years of history to the show's name and some incredible matches. First honourable mention is Mick Foley versus The Rock in an I Quit match for the WWE Championship in 1999. The 1999 Royal Rumble was a poor one from an in-ring standpoint, bar this match. Famous for its sheer brutality, it goes down in history as one of the hardest matches to watch simply because of the punishment Foley takes. Second honourable mention is Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship in 2001. This was one of the best singles ladder matches in WWE history and very unlucky not to make this list. Benoit and Jericho threw everything at each other on this night and stole the show with some incredible spots and daring storytelling. And the last honourable mention is the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys in a tables match for the Tag Team Championships in 2000. Perhaps one of the catalysts for the future Dudleys, Hardys and Edge and Christian matches, as these two teams had a crazy, death-defying first ever tag team table match. Some scary spots and moments also involving ladders and chairs, with the 4 men beating the tar out of each other. So, on to the main list now. Number 5, John Cena versus Umaga in a last man standing match for the WWE Championship in 2007. Umaga was on a roll in WWE in 2006 and early 2007 and went on a long undefeated streak which eventually came to an end at New Year's Revolution at the hands of Cena with a roll-up victory. Umaga's then manager, Armando Estrada, deemed the victory a fluke and Umaga got his rematch at the Royal Rumble, but this time in a brutal last man standing match. Umaga had a lot of momentum and was a monster heel, but Cena was the face of the company, so something had to give at the Royal Rumble. The story also was that Cena had an injured spleen. Yes, you heard that right, an injured spleen at the hands of Umaga with an attack leading into the match which played a part throughout the match itself. This was a fantastic display of brutality and storytelling, especially in a time where blood and violence was minimal. Umaga, ever the monster, destroyed Cena for most of the match using his incredible power and beast-like strength to target Cena's midsection. The traits that got Umaga over in the first place. Cena fought back valiantly, and unlike a lot of times where Super Cena made his opponents look silly or weak, this looked like a genuine fight and struggle for Cena, and he had to use the stairs, among other things, as an equaliser. Cena bled buckets, which added to the visual of the match, and the big spots, including the numerous stair spots, and Umaga's missed splash through a table, added a wow factor and got the crowd on their feet. In the end, Cena vanquished the monster with a brilliantly clever finish, where the WWE Champion utilised the ring rope to choke Umaga out so that he could not answer the 10 count. One of Cena's best matches in the early stages of his career atop of the card. Number 4. AJ Styles versus John Cena for the WWE Championship in 2017. Cena and Styles just had this undeniable chemistry in the ring. They just made magic, and this match was no different. AJ debuted at the previous year's Royal Rumble and had one of the best first years in the company, including a long feud with John Cena, which culminated in a huge clean victory for Styles at SummerSlam over Cena. Styles then went on to win the WWE title and was the absolute best in the world at this point. The best in the ring and one of the most popular superstars in the game. Styles was on fire at this point, and Cena was on the downward trajectory. He had suffered a number of losses and was on a lighter schedule than usual, with talk that Cena was on his way out. Cena had one final shot to try and equal Ric Flair's 16 World Championships and end Styles' incredible run. This match had the proverbial big match feel, and you could tell from the crowd. They were highly expectant for a spectacle of a match, and boy did they get it. Cena and Styles wrestled a hard-hitting, story-driven match which held the crowd on the edge of their seat, not knowing if Cena would tie the Nature Boy Ric Flair's 16 world titles. With every near fall Cena got, leaving people with hearts in their mouths, wondering if this was the time. Let's not forget, Cena hadn't been WWE champion since 2014. The crowd were on fire for every big move and every false finish. Cena and Styles also had a brilliant submission exchange towards the end, especially when Cena locked in a figure four leg lock, which would have been so apropos to win that match and tie the record with that hold. Styles really is the ultimate all-round wrestler, with not a flaw in his game. And put him in one of the biggest stages against one of the greatest stars of all time, he flourishes and shows everybody exactly why he's considered one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. Both guys use every big move in their book, and some of the false finishes really made you suspend your disbelief. Especially the astonishing kick-out by Styles from a Super AA. After that, Cena didn't slow down and hit another couple of AAs to secure his record-tying 16th World Championship, which, regardless of what you think about Cena, was a special moment and fully deserved. And a side note, the two superstars never left the ring. Number 3, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit for the WWE Championship in 2003. Two of the absolute best technical wrestlers of all time in their prime at one of the biggest shows of the year for the top prize in the business. How could it not be good? Angle and Benoit were absolute masters of their craft and unsurprisingly put on an absolute wrestling clinic here. Angle had not long been the champion after beating Big Show at Armageddon, and Benoit was the number one contender who had to also deal with a newly formed Team Angle consisting of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. This match was a phenomenal showcase in technical wrestling, with smooth counters, brilliant suplexes, grueling submission holds, and impeccable timing from both men. The two near falls off two Angle slams added high drama to the match, as it usually was enough to put people away, but Benoit's tenacity kept him in it. Benoit gave everything he had and proved he belonged on the biggest stage with a great performance, and Angle was his usual brilliant self and ended up with a clean submission victory. Benoit received a standing ovation after and really made a big claim to be one of the top guys going forward. His time would eventually come at the following year's Royal Rumble. Number 2, Brock Lesnar versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship in 2015. The third and final appearance for John Cena in this list. Brock Lesnar was on the run of his life. He'd ended the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania the previous year. He destroyed John Cena to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam and was an unstoppable beast at this point. Cena won a number one contender match against Randy Orton at the previous year's Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, and Rollins, who was actually holding the Money in the Bank briefcase at this point and was the authorities' chosen guy, inserted himself into the match, adding a unique dynamic that Rollins could win the championship either by winning the match or by cashing in his briefcase at any point during the match or after. This match was an absolute star shining in a black hole of an event, as the rest of the 2015 Royal Rumble being infamously known for being an awful show in general. The three superstars' different styles meshed perfectly here, with Lesnar's unreal power game, Rollins' speed and guile, and Cena's big match performance, making for a thrilling contest. The in-match story was spot on, as it was incredibly believable. Lesnar destroyed everybody at the start, throwing around Rollins and Cena like they were rag dolls. Then Cena and Rollins, knowing they had to get rid of Brock to have a chance, worked together to dispose of Lesnar with a great sequence of moves, which told a great story of Brock being an absolute monster that needed to be completely destroyed in order to be stopped. Brock took both guys' finishers, was speared through the rail, was hit with steel steps, and then in an awe-inspiring spot, was driven through the announce table with a diving elbow from Seth Rollins. Once Lesnar was disposed of, Cena and Rollins had a great mini-match with their signature big moves and close near falls, which added high drama to the match. The action never slowed down. It was fast and frenetic and had the crowd into it at all times. They went 100 miles an hour throughout, and it made for a fantastic watch. It included great psychology, big spots, and super close false finishes, and the crowd were on fire. It really was a fantastic match from start to finish. In the end, the Beast, being the absolute superhuman that he was, came back from all of the punishment to retain his championship. And number 1, Triple H versus Cactus Jack in a street fight for the WWE Championship in 2000. If anybody had any doubts about Triple H's main event status, then this match proved every one of these people wrong. Triple H had won the WWE Championship from Big Show, and the McMahon-Helmsley era had begun. Mick Foley stepped up to them, and they decided to fire him, because they controlled the WWE at that point and could do whatever they want. After a protest, Mick was reinstated, but he couldn't get near Triple H's level, so he had to bring out the darker, crazier, and more violent persona. Enter Cactus Jack. The master of the death matches, barbed wire matches, and exploding C4 matches, this street fight was right up Cactus's alley. The match didn't take long to get violent, with a vicious chair shot to Cactus's head in the early going, the likes of which you would not see in 2024. After a brawl around ringside, which resulted in a wicked spot on a wooden pallet, which opened up Triple H's leg, the barbed wire came out and the intensity of the violence went up a notch. Triple H was opened up badly after 2 unprotected barbed wire shots to the head, and Cactus's evil nature really shone through as he dominated Triple H. The violence is what made the match. They didn't go crazy with lots of weapons, mainly sticking to the barbed wire, but they utilised it so well. Shots to the head of Triple H and the back and legs of Cactus Jack looked brutal. And then the handcuffs came out, much like the Royal Rumble the previous year when Mankind took several brutal chair shots to the head. Cactus did his best to fight back, but this was his turn to take punishment, which was in the form of some vicious chair shots to the back and head of Cactus, which again just added to the violent nature and spectacle of the match. The Rock's short intervention, to obviously a big pop, allowed Cactus to become free of the handcuffs, which led to the brilliant final stages of the match. The thumbtacks came out, and obviously it was Cactus who took the brunt of them. The first being a backdrop, which led to a pedigree and a fantastic near fall, which got a huge response from the crowd. Triple H would go on to pedigree Cactus one last time on the tacks and retain his championship. He left on a stretcher a bloody mess, but it was a star-making performance from the game, if he wasn't one already. And this took him over to the next level, proving he could take an absolute beating and no doubt gain respect from higher-ups and his peers alike. Cactus was great in this role too, really showing the violent, vicious streak in him. And good on him for doing the honours for Triple H as well, and in the return match at No Way Out, in another classic Hell in a Cell match, which did wonders for Triple H's career moving forward, especially in the year 2000, as the game dominated the year and broke out as the next big main eventer for years to come. And in our opinion, the greatest match in Royal Rumble history. Well, there you have it. Those were our top 5 matches in Royal Rumble history. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to One Stop Wrestling on YouTube. And we'll see you next time with another One Stop Wrestling podcast.